Today we're going to cut through all the noise, all the headlines, and actually deal with the fundamentals of Blizzard. Can they reverse their fortunes? There's no need for me to recap all the things that have happened that have made it rough for them right now. You know all of that. Equally, you will remember the good times are always just around the corner problem that Blizzard has been dealing with for multiple years. Well, now we're actually at the point where that time is coming. The products are going to be coming back. So the big question is, does Blizzard's path back actually start right now? Is it possible? From two perspectives. Number one, us players. Number two, them as a business and the sorts of numbers that they will want to hit. Amid all of this, we have the Microsoft acquisition, something that has just been approved by the company's shareholders. Now, my belief is that Microsoft is here to play the long game. Yeah, they've messed things up a little bit with Halo, but I can at least say, through my own corroboration of reporting with one or two insiders over the last few years, that talk of the post-Overwatch era being about billion-dollar games, not really being in perfect alignment with what fans of their existing franchises would always want, that is decently true. And while Microsoft may have messed up the live delivery part of Halo, we do see, with Flight Sim and with Age of Empires, more of a willingness to treat games well and to avoid Reforged-like problems. So that's our situation. There's about to be a major change for them as a business in the acquisition, where they're hitting their inflection point in terms of the content pipeline. Are they going to recover? Are they going to thrive? That is the question. And if you want to, hit up brilliant.com/Bellular News today. They're today's sponsor. They are a website and an app that provides you with fun, interactive courses in STEM. And seriously, it's brilliant. So I hopped into their computer science intro to see how they go about teaching what I did at university. And man, it's so much more fun and interactive. I mean, as for me, and a good example, because I hopped into the game side of things, mostly in C# for Unity, I never really learned any Python. So now I'm making my way through their Python course, and let me tell you, it's such a refreshing way to see a language be taught. And I think it's in a way that will inspire curiosity, so you're actually excited to learn, because they're all about learning by doing. Topics have got novel, interactive framing that, I mean, the best way I can describe it is, they try to make it click for you. You know the click, that feeling where it just falls into place in your head, you get it and your imagination is sparked. That's what they're made to do. And it got me really excited, actually. As you know, I went into the realm of game programming, right? Sort of engine-y stuff. So there's a lot of topics like artificial intelligence, data science, and even quantum computing that sounds super awesome and interesting to me, but have always felt so unapproachable. Brilliant has them. Really, I'm kind of in love with their platform. It's just something that clicks with me a lot more than sitting in a lecture hall or something like that. So whether you want to learn yourself or maybe spark a younger mind's journey, visit brilliant.org/Bellular News today. And the first 200 to click my link will get 20% off the annual subscription. So thanks to Brilliant for joining the channel and supporting us. And let's get going. Let's start with the most important thing, the players. And their most important product, World of Warcraft. I say that because World of Warcraft has been a steady performer even when the rest of their portfolio has, well, either been non-existent or has just been very rocky. Now, with World of Warcraft, they have a problem. Quite soon after World of Warcraft came out, they tried to make Titan, planning for the next big MMO thing. World of Warcraft has been chronically underinvested in. They seem to be changing their tune there now. No doubt, World of Warcraft has not had the treatment it's deserved for the last 4 years. The big question then is, can Dragonflight turn this around for the company and for the players? Well, I would say the Dragonflight has fundamentally a slightly weaker core marketing premise than the likes of Legion or Warlords of Draenor, purely because you see the cinematic and you don't get a humongous, epic hype moment. However, it is quite well positioned to current fans of core Warcraft who don't feel like they've been served with recent expansions. I think that absolutely is the case. When we go through the minutiae of this expansion thus far, they're removing borrowed power systems. The game's going to be significantly more alt-friendly. Almost all non-power things are going to be account-wide. a lot of things that the player base has been wanting for a very long time. Even interesting things like them increasing the size of their open world content team, and the game director actually admitting that they probably have underserved a silent majority of their players in recent years. That was via the Asmongold interview that happened. All of these are good signs. The World of Warcraft Community Council was met with quite a lot of skepticism and cynicism at the start. We have actually been seeing that pay dividends. And the quantity, and I'd also say quality, of developer Q&A sessions with community members and some of the press after the Dragonflight announcement has actually been great. It's quite funny too. A lot of the info they communicated in these Q&A sessions, if they had have just included that in the main marketing presentation for Dragonflight, then I think people generally would have had a better impression. There's loads of free wins that they forgot to tell people about in their big event, which is a little bit of a head scratcher, I will say. In addition to this, we've got Wrath of the Lich King Classic. That's going to give Dragonflight some breathing room, and Wrath Classic has a unique ability to appeal to quite a lot of the classic crowd, but also quite a lot of the modern crowd. I think it really could help the game out, all while Season 4 of Shadowlands is going to be remixing the game that we've got right now to give modern WoW a bit more longevity. Essentially, all of these things are good signs. And I then, of course, have to wonder, with World of Warcraft Classic Season of Mastery drawing to a close later this year, what will they have for that? Will we get something akin to a Classic Plus that many players, myself included, have absolutely been advocating for? And on that topic, well, Ian Hazzikostas, the World of Warcraft game director, has said they're very much open to options, and he said that in a way where he very clearly understood that for a lot of people, Classic gets a hell of a lot less interesting as soon as you hit Cataclysm. We then, of course, have World of Warcraft's mobile titles. We don't know exactly what these are going to be, but there have been some leaks. What I do know is we're going to find out in a matter of a few days via a big presentation from Blizzard. According to Bloomberg sources, it's inspired by Clash of Clans. Immediately my eyes roll when I hear that, but, well, apparently Bloomberg sources heard good things, and that is the thing. Clash of Clans became very successful because it hits a decently neat core fantasy of building up your base. I think that, in an Azerothian context, absolutely could deeply resonate with players. The thing is it going to be a watch advertisements and get gems style game experience? A bit of me thinks that Bloomberg wouldn't be talking about hearing good things if it was just another buy gems and watch 30-second Google adverts sort of experience. There could be some potential there. Of course, for players, this will be a bit hit or miss. I think for a lot of people, a slice of Azeroth on the go is actually a decently appealing thing, so I could see these being successful at least for subsections of the current WoW audience. And of course, for lapsed people, a decent few of whom will play mobile games, though probably not massively you or me. Of course then, the PC announcement for Diablo Immortal throws some of this into question. I mean, a Clash of Clans style game that's about building a base and having an army of dudes and doing things, well, that could totally work on the PC platform as well. And I suppose the big question is, sure, Clash of Clans themed, but what's its setting going to be? Will it be set in the First War? The Second War? There are parts of the Warcraft canon that could fit that decently well. Apparently then, they're also looking to hire combat designers for what may be a third Warcraft mobile game. And if I go to this, they say they want a senior game designer to champion class and combat design for an unannounced project, both in cooperative and PvP. So, quite interesting there. And then, as a bit of a wild card within the core World of Warcraft product, they do now have an experimental gameplay team. Initially, it had been thought that was connected to Classic. I've seen some information to the contrary, but who knows what they're actually going to do. We then, of course, move on to Overwatch, the game that changed Blizzard's priorities with its humongous success. Fortunately, that was quite damaging, with reports of Bobby Kotick and the Overwatch League interfering with core game development, with perhaps the common consensus being that Overwatch 1 isn't really a successful Happy Live game because they wanted to sell loads of $60 copies with Overwatch 2. Perhaps they saw the sales of 1 and thought they could get regular-ish Call of Duty style success. Definitely not yearly, but maybe something along those lines. It would stand to reason. As it stands then, the Overwatch 2 PvP segment is free to play, though a lot of people still think it's pay to play. There's been a decent amount of audience confusion. What I do know is that their plan for Twitch drops, as we covered in this channel yesterday, was very successful initially, getting them 1.5 million, but the average concurrence, well, decreasing to about 2x what they had before the Overwatch PvP beta Twitch drop situation went down. As for the game itself, we covered it in yesterday's video. I think a TLDR there is that they have taken a design direction. They have decided to go with it. 5v5, probably a bit more esports friendly, probably a bit more friendly to players like myself who definitely want a balance that does allow for DPSs to carry. But there are going to be some people who liked Overwatch 1 who, A, don't see enough of a difference in Overwatch 2 PvP to be interested, or B, won't actually like that design direction. And right now there's a big question mark looming over how things are going to be for players who enjoy the support classes, as they have been struggling a bit in the sort of meta that is developing in Overwatch 2's PvP beta. Of course, where Overwatch 1 had to fight Gearbox's hero shooter and, I suppose, a bit of Paladins, well, Overwatch 2 has got to fight with Valorant. Valorant has been a very successful game, so it is a more competitive market. For the players, I think these are the primarily important things. Diablo 4 is almost certainly not going to be a Path of Exile-like experience. PoE people know what they like PoE. I think to people who don't want to go that deep into an ARPG, Diablo 4 is likely going to be an excellent game. They tend to be when they come out. Expect Diablo 4 to have a little bit more of an MMO-light influence, as we've actually seen in Diablo Immortal. And certainly, as the players are concerned with Diablo, well, Diablo 2 performed extremely well. Yes, it did have its issues, but it sold well. Diablo Immortal on PC, I think, was a welcome surprise, assuming that the game feel is decent and the microtransactions aren't terrible, because what's interesting there is that it does appear to be a larger game than Diablo 3. Certainly was a surprise to me to hear that. Seems to be what they're doing, and perhaps that will tide over some of that modern Diablo audience that doesn't quite want to dip into Path of Exile until a Diablo 4, perhaps in late 2023, maybe even 2024. Hard to say. Now, per the market, everything that I just covered for players is great. But one measure of success is monthly active users. Another, of course, is revenue. And if you look at the company King, you can see incredible revenue and incredible monthly active users. Diablo Immortal is almost certainly going to double Blizzard's current MAUs of 22 million. It's got 30 million pre-registrations, and we know that it's the game format that will do well in a global market, especially in China. And of course, those 30 million pre-registrations don't even include PC. We then could see similar go on with Warcraft, which is a massive worldwide brand that of course also does have very good recognition and penetration into the Chinese market. Look at what Call of Duty Mobile did to the MAUs of Activision. Now look at Blizzard. For the market, this is all going to be incredible. Now the question then is, what can we actually expect? Overall, I would say we are about to hit a period of Blizzard having almost quarterly releases in people's favorite franchises, and a lot more of ongoing development in regard to betas and things like that that keep them in the news cycle. And I think we'll probably see the business community's story about this company basically turn more positive because of a move into mobile. Again, the playtests for Diablo Immortal have been quite strong as a mobile game, and we do at least have some shreds of information that these Warcraft mobile games are testing good. I would also say these Warcraft mobile games have reportedly been in development for a very long time indeed, so it doesn't seem like something they're just squeezing out to make the market happy. Now, what you probably want to know is releases. I can't tell you when things are going to release, but here's a rough idea. Q2 of this year, I think that's when we're going to see Diablo Immortal. In fact, it is when we're going to see Diablo Immortal the 2nd of June. Q3 of 2022, I think highly likely by that stage, we will, of course, be in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Do also remember that Dragonflight Alpha and Beta will be happening in Q3 and also Q2. I believe it will start in Q2. Okay. As we move on to Q4 of this year, perhaps that's when we could expect Overwatch 2 PvP to actually launch, and perhaps also the first Warcraft mobile title. I believe it was indicated in one of Blizzard's earnings calls that is something that we expect to release in this year. At the very least, it might have a soft launch, something like that in a limited market. Q1 2023 then. That is very much when I'm going to be expecting World of Warcraft Dragonflight to come out. That will keep WoW happy for that quarter. Of course, though, in the previous quarter, which will be the end of this year, 2022, well, that's when WoW Classic Season of Mastery will have came to an end. It was designed to be a 12-month run. Now, I don't expect they'll do 12 months and then go straight into the next 12 months. There'll probably be a little bit of a cooldown period. Perhaps Q1 2023 will even have a beta test of what the next WoW Classic season is going to be, and I then wouldn't be surprised if we had a season of something else starting Q2 of 2023. Meaning that at any point from September to later on in this year, we'll have Wrath Classic. In the next quarter, we'll probably have Dragonflight. In the next quarter, probably another Season of Mastery. And then, of course, we have to think about what the broader 2023-2024 picture is going to look like. In terms of what we know, Diablo 4 can fit in there. Overwatch 2 PvE can fit in there. And of course, whatever the future of Classic is going to be. Recently, in an interview with Asmongold, Ian Hazzikostas said that they were open to ideas. Ian was understanding that for a lot of people, CAD is just not something that they're that interested in. Maybe that will mean WoW Classic Cataclysm, but with changes. Maybe it will mean Wrath Classic Plus. Who really knows? But evidently that's a product line that they wish to continue. And for the longer term then, well, that's when you'll just have to deal with unannounced projects, including the survival game. For Diablo, we have to think, will D4 be more of a live service title with ongoing content updates? Or will that follow the more traditional expansion model that the Diablo franchise has seen, with an expansion every 2 or 3 years and perhaps seasons continuing on? Hard to exactly say. I think we all agree that they definitely missed a trick in not having a follow-up expansion to Reaper of Souls for D3. Then, of course, any projects that have been greenlit in this new era of management, assuming the Microsoft deal goes through with government regulation and all of that, which could be quite interesting, and certainly as a StarCraft fan, that does give me a little bit of hope. I will admit, when I saw Mike Ybarra tweet out a few StarCraft pictures, I totally snuffed some hopium and thought, wow, maybe something will happen. Cannot say that for sure, but I think it is the common consensus that a StarCraft that resembles StarCraft is more possible in a Microsoft future, where they're playing the long game and are even going to the efforts of treating the remasters of Age of Empires 2 and 3 well. I think that means that a Warcraft RTS and StarCraft RTS future is a lot more possible. Of course, that's also the era of time, that longer-term future, maybe late 2024, 2025, 2026. That's when the likes of Notorious, of Lightforge, all of these ex-Blizzard developer companies, that's when their projects are going to start to come online. And we'll see the sorts of things that venture capitalists and, say, the Morheims have been funding. For me, then, it just comes down to the questions and pitfalls as we kind of finish this overview of Blizzard Entertainment's broad prospects. For me, it's just, how fun is World of Warcraft going to be with pain points removed? Yeah, it's great to see a lot of these pain points be removed, but is the content going to be fun? Are the classes going to keep up? Those are the big questions for me. In a world where World of Warcraft is struggling to keep up with, well, flat out, its world content is, say, not as good as a Guild Wars 2. Can Blizzard invest in that area of the game? Dragonflight, it certainly seems they're trying to, and that does give me some hope. That is a lingering question for World of Warcraft. I think it really was good to hear Ian almost acknowledge that a silent majority of players may have been underserved without many of us noticing in that Asmongold interview. Then there's World of Warcraft's narrative. All these game things are good, and for a lot of people, they don't care about the story, but the thing that's important for everyone is the health and integrity of the Warcraft setting. They cannot afford to do another Shadowlands. Then Overwatch 2. Will it go the distance? As far as I can tell, the PvP looks quite great as a game, but where have all those years of development went into? Overwatch 2 PvE had better be bloody brilliant when we actually do see it. And they better have a robust live service plan so that Overwatch is actually able to keep up with, say, Valorant, as an example. Also, bearing in mind that Overwatch is going to have a larger, more casual audience that perhaps Valorant wouldn't be able to have because of Valorant's, well, how punishing it is and its mechanical difficulty. And does that mean that there are other sorts of content in terms of events and things like that that Blizzard will also need to make to keep Overwatch happy? That's essentially my thoughts. I think it is very possible for Blizzard to be a very prominent, extremely important studio as as time passes on. I think it is possible for their MAUs to go past 100 million with all of these mobile projects. The question is, are the games going to be good? Will they learn their lessons? And with the Microsoft deal, will development be in a better place? I'll leave you with an anecdote. A point in time, I don't want to be too specific because I don't want to out the person, I had an extended conversation, verified with the guy too, with somebody from Blizzard. And they were just talking through their experience. I'm not going to say anything else about the nature of that, so I'm not exposing things. But suffice to say, a lot of the suspicions I had were confirmed to be true. A lot of things that I would later hear, say, Schreier talk about. The billion-dollar things being the focus. The cost-cutting, the being ruthless in the financials. The financial people getting more power. Those things were all pretty much said to me to be true by somebody inside who absolutely would have known. I think my question is, with Microsoft learning the lessons of, say, what killed the likes of Scalebound, and with their past mismanagement still haunting Halo Infinite, as contrasted to other areas where they've been doing a lot better, will a Microsoft let Blizzard be Blizzard and make great shit, while also ensuring that Blizzard levels up as an organization and is a great place to work, where people are well compensated and they can attract world-class talent? Because that is the other elephant in the room. Brain drain is what's going to kill a company. Blizzard have evidently had quite a lot of that. That's it for today's video. If you've had any questions about Blizzard, if you wanted to know where they could be going, I hope that this has been satisfying for you, that you've learned some things. If you want to support this channel, check out Brilliant. And it's not just to support the channel. You'll learn some great shit. I see a topic like quantum computing, and I think, oh, well, I did enjoy the television show Devs, but that's impenetrable for someone like me. No, it's not. It's there. Go do it. And it's actually fun. So thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring today's video. Click that link down below. The first 200 will get 20% off the annual subscription. And I really do think it is worth it. A bloody good value. So thanks to them. Thanks to you for watching. I'll see you next time.